I torched the invitations myself, watching the gold embossed cards curl and blacken in the backyard fire pit like the twisted promises they were. My sister's wedding was supposed to be the family pinnacle, a $250,000 spectacle of champagne fountains and celebrity string quartets. But I showed up uninvited, crashing the rehearsal dinner with a syringe of truth serum, metaphorical. Sure, but it burned just the same. And when the smoke cleared, they all turned on me, calling me the monster, even as my little girl's life hung by a thread they could have easily cut free. It started 6 months ago, in the sticky heat of a Brooklyn summer that clung to your skin like regret. My name's Emery, and back then, I was just trying to hold it together, single mom to Lila, my 8-year-old firecracker with eyes like storm clouds and a laugh that could crack open the world. We'd been scraping by in a one-bedroom walk-up in Bed-Stuy, the kind of place where the walls whisper secrets from the tenants before you, and the supers always got one hand out for the rent. I worked doubles at a craft brewery downtown, slinging IPAs to hipsters who tipped in crypto apologies, coming home smelling like hops and hollow exhaustion. Lila was my anchor, my everything, until the leukemia diagnosis hit like a freight train derailing in slow motion. The doctors at Mount Sinai laid it out plain: acute lymphoblastic leukemia, aggressive but treatable if we caught it early. Chemo, radiation, a bone marrow transplant if we got lucky on the donor match. The bill? A cool $1 million. Easy, even with insurance chipping in scraps. I didn't blink. I'd sell my soul, pawn my grandmother's locket. Hell, I'd rob a bank if it came to that. But deep down, I knew where the real lifeline was: my family. The Carsons. Old money from Dad's real estate flips in the 80s, now laundered through Mom's boutique wine import business in the Hamptons. They weren't billionaires, but they had buffers, trust funds, offshore accounts, the kind of wealth that lets you summer in Nantucket without checking the forecast. My sister, Viv to the world, Venom to me in my darker moments, was the golden child. 3 years older, Harvard MBA, married once already to a tech bro who goes to her with half the prenup. Now she was engaged to Derek, some Wall Street shark with a jawline like a chisel and a family net worth that made ours look like pocket change. Their wedding was the talk of the Upper East Side, Tribeca rooftop venue, custom gowns from Paris, a guest list bloated with influencers and hedge fund vultures. $250,000. They bragged in the group chat, like it was a flex against the plebs. It's our moment, Viv texted, with heart emojis and champagne gifts. After everything we'd been through. That's the hook that snagged me every time. Because buried under that glossy sisterhood was the rot I'd been carrying for her since we were kids. It was 2008, the crash year, when Dad's empire teetered and Mom popped Xanax like candy. Viv was 19, home from college on break, interning at Dad's firm. She got cocky, siphoned $50,000 from a client's escrow account to fund her entrepreneurial venture, some half-baked app that promised to revolutionize roommate disputes. It tanked, of course, and when the auditors came sniffing, Viv panicked. She begged me, her little sister, the reliable one, to take the fall. "Just say you did it for tuition," she whispered in the kitchen, tears smudging her mascara. "I'll pay you back." Swear on Mom's life. I was 16, stupid with loyalty, dreaming of Juilliard for my violin but settling for community college to stay close. I forged the emails, planted the digital trail, and when the cops hauled me in, I confessed to it all. Juvenile court, sealed records, Community service that killed my music dreams dead. They've got a slap on the wrist, probation. Daddy's lawyers spinning it as youthful error. She finished Harvard, climbed the ladder, while I waited tables and wondered why the weight never lifted. That secret was our chain, invisible but ironclad. I'd borne her crime like a scarlet letter, and she'd repaid me with birthday cards and sister spa days that felt like pity fucks. So when Lila's diagnosis came, I swallowed the pride and called. Mom answered first, her voice all Long Island clipped sympathy.
Oh,
Honey, that's awful. Well, pray. Pray? I wanted wiring instructions. They've got on the line next. Multitasking a Pilates call.
ing.
We're stretched thin with the wedding. Derek's folks are chipping in.
But you know how it is.
Have you tried GoFundMe? People love a good sob story. Stretched thin? They were dropping $80,000 on floral installations alone. I hung up, throat raw, and stared at Lila coloring in her hospital bed, oblivious to the vultures circling our fragile nest. That's when the revenge ember flickered to life, not a blaze. Not yet, but a slow smolder in my gut. I started small, anonymous tips to the wedding planner about Viv's budget overruns, whispers to Derek's sister about Viv's prenup paranoia. Nothing lethal, just enough to make her sweat. But Lila's fever spiked. The bills piled like snowdrifts, and desperation sharpened the blade. I dug into the family archives, old emails, bank statements I'd swiped from Mom's desk years ago. And there it was, the motherlode Viv hadn't just stolen once. In 2015, post-divorce glow-up, she'd cooked the books at her fintech startup, inflating revenues to snag a $2 million venture round. When it imploded, she pinned it on the CFO, a guy who ate the bullet, metaphorically, with a nervous breakdown and a quiet exit. No charges, thanks to NDAs and Viv's silver tongue. But the paper trail? Sloppy. Passwords recycled. Offshore wires to a Cayman shell company that screamed, "Follow the money." I hired a PI on credit. A grizzled ex-cop named Frankie who chain-smoked Virginia Slims and called me kid like I was still 16. "This'll cost you, Emery," he rasped over burner phones. "But if it's dirt you want, I've got a shovel." 2 weeks later, he delivered, dossiers thick as phone books. Emails where Viv bragged to her sorority sisters about dodging another bullet, thanks to my idiot sibling covering my ass back in the day. She knew I'd seen the wedding budget. Knew I was drowning. And she'd chosen lace veils over 4 drips. The rehearsal dinner was at Le Bernardin, that fish palace where the plates cost more than my rent. I crashed it in a thrift store sheath dress, hair frizzed from the humidity, clutching a manila envelope like a grenade. Viv spotted me first, mid-laugh with Derek's waspy clan. Her gown a cascade of silk that screamed, "I deserve this." "Emery? What the get out?" Security. But I was already at the head table, voice steady as I slapped the folder down. "Remember 2008? The $50,000 you borrowed? Or how about 2015, when you framed poor Mr. Hargrove for your Ponzi light scheme? I've got it all here. And unless you wire $200,000 to Lila's transplant fund by dawn, anonymous. No strings, this hits the Times, the SEC, and Derek's prenup clause on financial transparency." The room froze, forks hovering like guillotines. Mom gasped. Dad's face went the color of overcooked salmon. Derek's eyes narrowed, calculating. "Viv?" She flipped like a switchblade. First denial, tears streaming. "You're lying. You jealous bitch. Always the victim. Then rage. Lunging for the envelope. Nails raking my arm. You think you can blackmail me? After I gave you a roof when you were broke? Lies. All of it. But the venom stuck. Guests murmured. Phones snuck out for pics. I stood my ground, heart hammering, tasting the controversy on my tongue. Was I the savior or the saboteur? The mom fighting for her kid? Or the grudge-nursing ghost from her past? Security hauled me out, but not before Viv hissed in my ear. You'll regret this.
Eminencia.
Family sticks together, or we bury each other. Derek pulled her away, whispering furiously about damage control. By morning, the wire hit my account, $200K. Sender unknown. Lila's transplant was greenlit. But victory? It tasted like ash. Viv cut me off. A cease and desist from her lawyers landing via courier, accusing me of extortion. Mom called once, sobbing. How could you ruin her day? She's your sister. Ruin? I'd saved a life. But the headlines spun it gray. Heiress wedding drama. Blackmail allegations rock Upper East Side nuptials. That should have been the end. Lila in remission. Me fading back to obscurity. But Viv, she was a serpent, shedding skins. 2 weeks post-crash, she showed up at my door unannounced. Derek in tow, bearing lilies and a check for the remaining treatment costs. Truce, she cooed, eyes wide with faux remorse. I was scared.
Panicked.
But your family. Lila's family. Derek nodded. All polished sincerity. We want to help. No strings. I let them in. Fool that I was. Lila beaming from her couch nest. For Pole, a silent sentinel. They played the part, Viv reading bedtime stories. Derek wiring bonuses for incidentals. It felt like absolution. The betrayal thawing into something almost real. But Frankie's shovel kept digging. Turns out, Viv's olive branch was barbed wire. While she cooed over Lila, her lawyers were filing motions to unseal my juvenile records, painting me as the repeat offender in custody battles if I pushed back. And Derek? He wasn't just a shark, he was circling. Whispers from his firm. Viv had tipped him off to an insider trade on a biotech stock, Lila's very treatment maker, netting them a cool $500,000 windfall. My kid's lifeline. Laundered into their luxury. The flip? Viv wasn't done scheming. She confided in a friend, taped by Frankie, that she'd use the family reconciliation to leverage me into silence forever. Emery's desperate. She'll sign anything for the girl. NDAs. Payoffs, poof. Problem solved. The tension coiled tighter. A noose of my own making. Lila's counts improved, but the moral rot festered. Was I wrong to expose them? Viv's crimes were real. But my methods? Blackmail's a dirty word in polite society. And the blogs were litigating it. Hero mom or vengeful harpy? Comment sections erupted. Feminists cheering my grit. Tradcons decrying family destruction. I read them at 3 a.m. Lila snoring softly, wondering if I'd become the villain in my own redemption arc. The wedding loomed like a guillotine, rescheduled to the Hamptons. Scaled back to $150,000 but still obscene. Invites went out minus my name. But Viv's truce included a +1 for the ceremony. Come, she emailed. Show the world we're unbreakable. Trap? Temptation? I RSVP'd yes. Envelope in hand, upgraded now with Frankie's forensic accounting tying Viv's Cayman wires to Hargrove's ruined life. He'd killed himself last year. A quiet suicide in a Jersey motel. Note blaming the lies that buried me. Controversial? dropping that bomb mid-vows would shatter more than glassware. The drive out was a blur of Montauk Highway, salt air whipping through the rental's open window. Lila stayed with a neighbor, her latest skin clear, but my gut churned. The estate was a fever dream, white tents billowing like surrender flags, string lights twinkling against the dusk Atlantic. Guests in linen suits sipped rose, oblivious to the fault lines. Viv found me by the oyster bar, radiant in ivory, Derek orbiting like a moon. "You came," she breathed, hugging me stiffly. "Means everything." Her eyes darted to the envelope peeking from my clutch. "Bury it."
Eminência.
For Lila. I almost did. Almost let the current of blood and bone marrow by my silence. But then Mom cornered me by the cake, 7 tiers of fondant lies, whispering, "Viv's pregnant." Derek's heir. Don't blow this now. Pregnant. The twist that gut punched me. All her flips, the schemes, the refusal, it wasn't just greed. It was legacy. Protecting the bump, the boardroom prince, SS. From the stains I'd unearthed. And me, I'd gambled my daughter's life on a revenge that now threatened an unborn. The ceremony kicked off at sunset, officiant droning about eternal bonds under a floral arch that cost more than Lila's first round of chemo. I sat in the back, heart a war drum. Vows exchanged, rings slipped on, then the recessional, Viv gliding down the aisle, bouquet in one hand, my secrets in the other. She paused at my row, leaning in with a smile for the photographers. "Drop it," she murmured. "Or the baby's next on your hit list." That was the spark. Not calculated, not clean. As the crowd surged for cocktails, I slipped the upgraded dossier to Derek's best man, a SEC auditor moonlighting as groomsman, drunk on free view. "Check the wires," I whispered. "Your boy's fiancé is a fraud." Then,
To Viv.
in the powder room mirror's unforgiving glare, "You spent a fortune on this circus, but let my girl twist? Enjoy the fallout." I walked out, envelope ashes in a beachside fire pit, the ocean swallowing the evidence. By dawn, the feds were at the estate. Viv's schemes unraveled live on CNBC, embezzlement, fraud, Hargrove's ghost haunting the Chirins. Derek bolted, prenup invoked, leaving her with a nursery and no alibi. Mom disowned me publicly, but wired apology funds privately. Lila? Full remission. Donor match a miracle from the registry chaos.
But the twist?
Months later, a letter from Viv, postmarked from a halfway house. "You win."
Eminência.
But was it worth it? I lost everything, baby too. Stress, miscarriage. "You're free."
But so am I.
No more chains.
Free.
The word mocked me. Readers would debate, did I save a life or end 3? Hero or homewrecker? I burned the letter, held Lila tighter, and wondered if revenge ever really ends, or if it's just the ghost you learn to live with. The halfway house letter arrived on a Tuesday, folded into a crisp envelope that smelled faintly of institutional bleach and broken dreams. I stared at it for an hour before ripping it open. Lila's school backpack slung over the chair like a normalcy anchor. "Aunt Vivi," she asked, peeking over my shoulder, her remission cheeks flushed from playground tag. I nodded, throat tight, and shooed her to homework. But the words clawed at me, free. As if she'd been the prisoner all along.
Not me.
Lugging her sins like a backpack full of bricks since high school. Life post-wedding apocalypse settled into a gritty groove. The $450,000 from the wires and settlements bought us a 2-bedroom in Crown Heights, nothing flashy. But space for Lila's violin lessons, I dusted off my own bow, teaching her the scales I'd lost. My brewery gig evolved into managing the taproom, tips flowing steadier now that I wasn't haunted by midnight spreadsheets of medical debt. Frankie retired to Florida, sending postcards with shark doodles and warnings. Snake shed.
Kid.
Watch your step. The blogs moved on, my saga fodder for true crime pods. Emery Carson, the sister who snitched, debates raging in comment wars about family loyalty versus justice porn. Viv's fall was swift and spectacular. American dream inverted. SEC froze her assets. Headline screaming, fintech fraudster's fairy tale wedding turns nightmare. Derek lawyered up, countersuing for emotional distress, but the judge saw through it, dismissed with a gavel crack that echoed like karma. Mom and Dad retreated to the Hamptons' house, selling the wine biz to cover legal fees. Their Christmas cards generic Hallmark voids. Viv, 6 months in a white-collar lockup upstate. Then the halfway house in Yonkers. Mandated therapy and job training. The miscarriage, confirmed in court docs. A quiet tragedy waved like a white flag, humanized her in the tabloids. Betrayed bride's heartbreak. They cooed, glossing over the fraud tallies. I told myself it was done. Buried the clippings, blocked the numbers. But revenge is a boomerang, curved with doubt.
Nights.
I'd wake sweating, replaying the powder room hiss, or the baby's next. Had I pushed her there? The stress, the scrutiny, Doc said it contributed. A footnote in her plea deal. Lila thrived, oblivious, her curls wild as she mastered Vivaldi. But guilt gnawed like termites in the floorboards. Was I the villain who'd orphaned a sibling's future for my own? The pods dissected it. One host called me a feminist icon dismantling patriarchal cover-ups, another a toxic enabler weaponizing trauma. No one clean. Everyone complicit. That's the American way, gray area grudges served with a side of schadenfreude. Then the flip started again. Viv's first parole visit, she called from a monitored line, voice stripped to vulnerability.
Ink.
I need to see you. Not for favors.
Just.
Talk. Against Frankie's ghost whisper. I agreed. Neutral ground, a dingy Starbucks in the Bronx. Her in scrubs from the house laundry gig. Me in jeans and armor. She looked hollowed, cheekbones sharp as accusations. I'm sorry, she started. No tears this time. Just flat delivery. For 2008. For everything. I was selfish.
Scared.
You deserved better. I waited for the ask, the bailout, the vouch for early release. It came sideways, Lila's transplant. Was it worth this? Her eyes flicked to my healed arm scars from the rehearsal rake. Worth her life? Yeah. My voice cracked. But I held. We talked circuitous, Mom's dementia creeping, Dad's golf obsession as denial. For an hour. It felt like sisters, not adversaries. The betrayal a scar instead of a fresh wound. She even laughed at Lila's latest quip, a story I'd shared unbidden. Walking out, she hugged me brief.
Bony.
Thanks for coming. Means I can sleep. I drove home lighter. The chain links loosening. Maybe redemption was iterative, not explosive. But Viv was a chameleon. Scales iridescent with intent. 2 weeks later. Frankie unretired via text. Your sis reached out. Wants dirt on Derek. Revenge play? Turns out, halfway house had Wi-Fi. And Viv had wormed into the old networks. emails to her ex-sorority, probing Derek's post-scandal indiscretions, a coke-fueled weekend in Miami. Interns involved. She wasn't plotting against me. She was rallying for round two, using our truce as camouflage. I confronted her next visit, envelope of her queries in hand. What is this? Using me to sharpen your claws. Her flip was lightning, contrition to contempt.
Oh, please.
Derek ruined me, took the beach house, froze the accounts. You think I'm the only snake? She leaned in, breath minty over the coffee steam. You started this war.
Eminência.
With your little fire pit stunt. I was protecting us, family first. Protecting? The word ignited me. You protected your ass.
Viv.
Let me rot for your theft. Then watched Lila code blue, because Tool trumped transfusions. Voices rose. The barista glared. She softened then. The masterstroke. Help me bury him. We split the settlement. For Lila. For Mom's meds. Controversial calculus. Team up with the devil to ding the devil's consort? I walked. But the seed burrowed. The tension escalated. A pressure cooker of what-ifs. Lila's school play. Her as Dorothy. Me in the audience clutching daisies, interrupted by a call from Derek's lawyer. Cease and desist edicts. Alleging I'd instigated Viv's leaks, demanding $100,000 or they'd sue for Lila's custody, painting me unstable. Unstable? The irony burned. I lawyered up cheap. A pro bono firebrand from legal aid who smelled blood. Meanwhile, Viv's overtures intensified. Care packages to Lila, stuffed animals with tags reading, Auntie loves you. Voicemails laced with nostalgia. Remember summers in the Hamptons? We can have that again. It was grooming, subtle as fog, pulling me into her orbit. I resisted, but the antagonist in me, the one who'd torched invites, stirred. Derek deserved reckoning. His trades on Lila's pharma stock were profane, profiting off her platelets. A quick hack, Frankie's parting gift, VPN tutorials, into public filings showed it, $500,000 gains. Time to her diagnosis leak via anonymous sources.
Viv.
Maybe a partner. Maybe a pawn. The decision loomed, controversial as a loaded gun. Feed Viv the rope to hang him. Risk her flipping it on me? Or let karma limp along? Preserving my fragile peace? The climax brewed at Mom's 70th. A subdued affair in a queen's banquet hall. Neutral turf. No oceans or arches. Viv paroled full. On a tether of community service. Showed up in thrift chic. Derek absent, but his shadow long. Family fractured but orbiting. Dad nursing scotch. Mom foggy-eyed in her wheelchair. Aunts whispering about the Scandal sisters. Lila performed tricks. Magic cards from a kit, drawing laughs. The glue holding our shards. Over rubber chicken. Viv cornered me in the coat room. Envelope of Derek's Miami pics thrust forward. He's suing you.
Eminência.
For real this time. Help me countersue. His affairs void the prenup. We take him down together. Her eyes pleaded. But the flip lurked, the maw of mutual destruction. Why me? I hissed. Coats muffling us. Because you owe me, she shot back. You exposed me.
Cost the baby.
This evens it. Owe her? The room spun. Mom's voice drifted in, calling for cake. Lila's giggle pierced. In that breath, I chose, handed her my phone. Frankie's Derek dossier unlocked. Do it. But if you turn this on me, I end you for good. Alliance forged in fur and resentment, the pact sealing with a nod. We moved fast, shadows in the digital underbelly. Viv fed the pics to a gossip rag. I anonymized the trade docs to the journal. Derek's empire wobbled, resigned in disgrace. Assets seized. Settlement poured, $300,000 to Viv. $150,000 funneled to me via charity for Lila's college. Mom's care covered. A side win. But the cost? Viv's gratitude curdled quick. Post-win brunch at a midtown deli. She announced her pivot. New gig at a nonprofit. Rebranding the redemption arc. And the barb. Thanks,
Sis.
but next time you need a bailout, don't call. We're even.
Even?
The word echoed hollow. I'd handed her the blade.
And she nicked me on the draw.
Lila asked later. Aunt Viv coming for Thanksgiving? I smiled.
Leet.
Maybe next year. But the tension lingered. A low hum of unease. Thanksgiving came and went without Viv. The table set for four: me, Lila, Frankie on Zoom from his Keys condo, and a frozen turkey that tasted like tentative peace. The settlement cash buffered us. Lila's private school tuition locked. A down payment on a co-op in Prospect Heights whispered about in realtor dreams. I quit the brewery for a sommelier cert, channeling Mom's wine legacy, minus the denial. Life curved toward normalcy. The revenge arc bending into routine. But American stories don't end neat. They sequel. Twists lurking in the credits. Viv's rebrand bloomed viral. TEDx talk on From Fraud to Forgiveness, sponsored by Derek's ousted firm in a PR pivot. She looked fierce. Pixie cut and power suits. Dropping lines like, "Betrayal taught me grace," without naming names.
Me?
A footnote in her origin story. The catalyst sister who woke me up. Comment sections litigated anew. Inspo queen versus white-collar wash cycle yawn. I watched once. Muted. Lila napping beside me. Wondering if Grace was just another flip. A skin to slew when convenient. The real twist slithered in January. Frost biting the brownstones. A knock at dawn. Federal agents. Badges gleaming. Hauling questions about aiding and abetting securities fraud. My heart dropped. Viv's leaks.
My dossiers.
Twisted into conspiracy. We have emails, the lead said. A woman with cop eyes. Your PI. The files. You two colluded post-exposure. Colluded? I'd handed her the rope. Not the noose. But the paper trail blurred. Shared drives. Burner texts. Viv had looped me in deeper than I'd clocked. Her helped me, a Trojan horse. Panic clawed. I lawyered up fierce, the legal aid firebrand now on retainer, while Lila stayed with a sitter. Her questions about Mommy's work trip killing me soft. Frankie cursed over the line. Told ya.
Kid.
Snakes bite back. Interrogations dragged. Sterile rooms. Coffee like regret. Viv, radio silent. Then the bomb via her mouthpiece attorney. Client invokes fifth. Suggests Emery initiated for personal gain. Initiated? The betrayal deepened. A chasm. She'd flipped final, painting me the mastermind, her the coerced victim. Protecting the family, she'd say in depots. Echoing her wedding hiss. Controversial genius, the sister who tanked her wedding now framed as the fraud puppeteer. The climax wasn't fireworks, but a courtroom crawl. Federal courthouse in Foley Square. Summer swelter turning the gallery to a sweatbox. Lila with a neighbor. Me in a suit too tight for the lies it armored. Viv testified first. Composed as a senator. Emery resented my success. Used old secrets to extort. Then roped me into her revenge on Derek. Gasps rippled. Mom in the back row. Handkerchief clutched. Dad absent. My turn. The stand a scaffold. Voice steady as I unpacked it all. 2008 theft. My juvenile fall. Lila's chemo hell. The wedding crash as desperate Hail Mary. I didn't collude. I survived. Exhibits flashed. Wires time-stamped pre-alliance. Frankie's affidavits clean. The judge, a grizzled type with Brooklyn in his vowels, grilled us both. The gray zone glaring. This ain't black and white. Ladies. Family feuds with felonies? Messy. Jury deliberated 3 days. Headlines pulsing. Sister versus sister. Who pulled the strings? Pods exploded. Debates on betrayals bandwidth. If blood excuses bones. Me the underdog mom. Viv the reformed phoenix. No heroes. Just humans clawing from the pit. Verdict. Mistrial on technicals. Chain of custody fouled by Viv's halfway hacks. No cuffs. But probation for both. Restitution orders. Therapy mandates. We walked free-ish. The chain reforged in legalese. Outside. Rain slicked the steps. Viv waited under an awning. Umbrella like a shield.
Ain't she strategy?
No contrition this time. Just weary. It wasn't personal. Self-preservation. I laughed. Bitter. Everything with you is personal. Viv. That's the curse. She nodded. Rain drumming. The baby's gone.
But
maybe we start over. For Lila. For Mom. The offer hung. Controversial as ever. Forgive the unforgivable. Or salt the earth. I walked away. Into the downpour. Calling Frankie for a ride. No more snakes, I muttered. But deep. The ember flickered. Was she redeemable? Or was I the fool chasing closure in a loop? Months blurred. Lila turned 10. Party at the co-op with balloon animals and a cake-iced warrior princess. Viv sent a card and signed. Cash enclosed. Mom passed quiet in autumn. Dementia claiming the last lucid thread. We buried her in the Hamptons plot. Viv and I side by side. Eulogies unspoken. Dad sold a house. Vanished to Arizona Gulf. The family dissolved. Ashes of empire. Final twist? A year on. Viv's nonprofit imploded. Whistleblower exposing skim donations. Her fingerprints all over. She vanished. Whispers of Vancouver or a plea deal abroad.
me?
I wrote the book, not a tell-all. But fiction thinly veiled. Shadows on the Isle. Midlist hit that paid for Lila's Juilliard dreams. Readers argued endings in reviews. Cathartic justice, or tragic overkill. Families not disposable. Happy? By tragic? Depends on the lens.
Now.
Lila fiddles Bach on our fire escape. City hum below. I watch. Envelope of old letters unburned in a drawer. Evidence or epilogue. Revenge taught me, no one's all right or wrong. Just surviving the flips. And in America's grind. That's the real hook, pulling yourself from the undertow. One controversial stroke at a time.